There we go. Hi, everyone. I am so grateful that you're here. My name is Dr. Marcia Martin, the heart healer, and today we're talking all about fear. Fear is one of my favorite topics, not because I want you all to be afraid, not because I worship fear, but because I understand it so well, having lived with it for so very long. And now that I am free of it, or at least the majority of it, I want to share that with you. I want you to be able to gain your independence from fear because it has made all the difference in my life. I used to joke and say I would eat fear for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's really not far wrong. My whole life was consumed by what ifs, and they were never, what if something wonderful happens? It was always, what if something bad happens? And as we know, law of attraction was participating in my life just like it participates in yours. So I made sure that from that fear based place, I received a lot of things to be afraid of. I made bad decisions. I got in bad relationships. I participated in actions that were fear based and had some really bad results. So I want to help you step out from that dark cloud of fear back in to the sunshine of love because you are loved. You cannot go anywhere to escape the love of the divine. You can choose to limit the amount of love that you receive, but that love is ongoing and cannot be stopped. So, even if you were to do as I did, which is to make those bad decisions, you are still loved. You are still safe. So, fear was my unwelcome companion, and I chose fear. First of all, I was raised in a fearful household, but I chose fear because I believed it was keeping myself and those that I loved safe, aware, and alert. Oh, we were always looking out for that bad thing that may be coming around the corner so that we could be protected against it. I thought it was helping me create a more stable home for my family and create a life for myself that would eventually become smooth. I just wasn't putting all the dots together, didn't know enough about law of attraction. So I kept saying, oh, I just need to be even more alert and aware and really on on it for what could go wrong. And when I really become aware and alert, well, then my life will smooth out and I'll have less to be afraid of. Unfortunately, with law of attraction, the more that I focused on what was wrong or could go wrong, the more that I had to actually negotiate that was wrong. So I didn't understand that fear was using me. I thought, as I said, I thought I was doing the best that I could to be a really good mother, to parent my children in a way that they would really feel that they had a stable, safe home life. I believed that fear was that beneficial tool. Now, today we're going to take a look at different kinds of fear and how they impact your life. But next week, I want to take a deep dive into the fear of death. I think that deserves its own special time because we need to really have time to investigate it and to answer your questions and allay those fears that you may have surrounding it. So let's take a look that at what we are creating when we create with fear. So, all energetic products on the negative side of the scale bring death and destruction. I don't mean literal death. I mean the figurative death of your peace, your joy, your freedom, sometimes even your ability to love. You're always looking over your shoulder. You can't be present and relaxed and enjoying this moment because you're so worried about what was or what is coming. Fear has driven you to the place where you cannot relax. But all fear is about loss. Fear is a liar and a thief. And so it tells you you're going to lose something that you either need in order to survive or that you hold dear. It's that feeling that someone or something could be taken from you. So let's take a look at some of the common fears that we will run through in our lifetimes. First of all, you can have the fear of poverty. You are afraid that the money or the material possessions you have will be stolen, lost through mismanagement or fraud or rising cost. Right now, here in the US, we're dealing with quite a bit of inflation, and it would be or would appear to be normal to be in a state of fear about how we're going to pay our bills or continue to meet our financial obligations. And yet, we know that when we engage law of attraction to something that is in the world, we are just magnifying it and making it so much worse than it needed to be. When we're afraid, we're attached to the loss of money because we think that holding on and taking that tight fist approach to what we have so that you won't lose any more is somehow going to make it last longer. Now, there is nothing wrong with establishing a budget that feels in alignment with your highest good, as long as you don't feel that every breath you take is one of deprivation. You are not activating the law of attraction to work against you. But if you are constantly living in fear of poverty and you are saying things to yourself like, oh, how will I ever pay the bills? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? How are we going to eat? Where are we going to live? How will we get to work? Any of these different conditions that you may be placing upon the amount of resources that you believe you have access to. Now, this means that you are saying to law of attraction, bring me more bills, unexpected big expenses, unexpected ways for this money that I perceive to be this big to be used up. Your fear is focused upon losing the money. And that means you're going to attract circumstances that will make that happen for you. And I know it sounds horribly cruel when we look at it this way, but instead of thinking that it's cruel, think about how much we are able to influence our environment. Now, you could say, oh, I only have this much money. But when you understand law of attraction, you can say, oh, wow, I have this much money. Let me be grateful for all of this money. Let me just know that all of my expenses will fit in this much. And if my expenses get larger, well, then I'm going to assume that my access to resources will also get larger because I'm focused on bringing more in through gratitude and appreciation for what I already have. And I think it's so important that we understand fear pushes away, gratitude and appreciation pulls to you that which is wanted. So, fear will mean to you that the raise that you were hoping to get, the promotion that you had wanted, the sale price that you had hoped to be able to receive, none of that will be available. Appreciation means you may get double a raise. You might get a raise and a promotion and then a new job. Everything that you need would be on sale, or you would have access to whatever resources you need in order to make purchasing it easy. When we become envious or jealous of others who have more, it is another way for us to activate law of attraction against ourselves. We must always remember that there is more than enough for all, which means you can, if you are willing to open your heart to receive it, you can have more than enough for you. You might have to change the vibration that you're offering. You might have to change something about you that is preventing the money from coming to you. But there is more than enough already in circulation for you to have plenty. When you're living in a lack state, you will be attracting lack circumstances. However, there is no reason for you to continue to be living in a lack state. You have free will. Now you have this information. You understand getting into a place of gratitude and appreciation is going to give you even more ability to attract that which you want. So let's take a look at a different fear. How about fear of people who are different? This can be race, gender, skin color, location of residence, gender identification, sexual preference, age, intellectual capacity. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that their difference or their different way of looking or thinking or talking about something causes you discomfort. So this fear starts playing itself out again through loss when you believe that their choice is going to somehow limit what's available to you. So, just to make it easy, let's pretend that I am a straight woman looking for a straight man, and I suddenly become angry with every great gay relationship that I see because I think the gay relationships somehow have limited my selection pool of straight men. Do you really think that a gay man is going to want to go out with a straight woman? It doesn't make any sense. If you like a same sex relationship, the other sex isn't going to appeal to you. So if I live in an area where I only want to see straight people and I plop myself right down in a very predominantly gay section, and then I complain that I don't meet anyone who's straight, who is out of order? We've got to understand that nothing that is meant for us can be taken from us unless we give permission. So, the right partner for you is going to be there no matter how many alternative relationships may be around you. Let's understand that if someone has chosen a different partner, they don't want you as their partner, and that's okay. You don't want somebody's leftovers. You want the person that's right for you in whatever way that is. And we don't need to limit that. You want the partner that is going to align with your heart. So when we get all upset about this kind of loss, we are just trying to lie to ourselves and say, well, I don't need to change, or I don't need to become a better person, or I don't need to be friendlier, or whatever it might be. It's not my fault. It's the fact that all of these people have all of these other alternative lifestyle people have snapped up all the ones that were meant for me. And that's just not realistic. If you are having a difficult time in your relationship or getting into a relationship, you need to look within. Are you loving and kind? Are you projecting who you truly are? Are you getting out in places where you are likely to meet people that you would feel really in alignment with? Or are you hiding in your house, or are you going to places where it's very unlikely for you to meet anyone that you feel really in sync with? It doesn't matter race, skin color, gender, intelligence. If you believe that you have nothing that you can share with any of these people, that is going to be your truth. If you believe they can take something from you, that is going to be your truth. But the universal truth is there is always more than enough for all. And let's remember that believing your value is determined by some outer characteristic, how you look, who you choose to love, what your skin color is, your age, your intelligence, gender, anything like that, is really not you living up to your fullest potential. Love someone for who they are, not for what they look like. The only distinguishing characteristic that matters is within. You want, and especially those of you who are here on this awakening ascension journey, you want that good heart. That's what's going to bring you joy. Choose your friends, your associates, your partners by how you relate to them. How do you feel when you're with them? If you're getting that weird feeling in your gut, don't push it. Don't try to have a relationship with that person. Just excuse yourself and go to the place where you do feel you belong. Now, that brings us to a fear of relationships. So you might say, I'm defined by my significant other. So that means another person can determine your worth. Certainly, when I was growing up, that was a pretty common way to think or believe. You may also think that society or culture, your socioeconomic status, or your cultural heritage has somehow determines your worth, or perhaps your church or social group give you more value than something else. In this case, you are fearing the loss of acceptance. You are believing that unless you are whatever these outside groups determine you should be, then all of these relationships that you've gathered are going to be taken from you and you will be lonely. But again, I want to remind you that if your relationships are all based on some outer characteristic, they are not relationships that will see you through the storms of life, and they are not relationships that will grow with you as you grow. So you're probably going to end up leaving those people behind anyway. And you really want to be supported by people that love you for who you are, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. So instead of fearing the loss of acceptance, I want you to know and love you yourself just as you are, so that it doesn't matter whether you have somebody with you or not, you still feel good about you. Fear is always going to insist that there is a reason to worry. That is fear's job. Fear is just doing its job. Fear isn't out to get you. Fear isn't out to derail you. Fear is out to do its job, and you have the choice whether or not you give it permission to do its job. Now, when I'm talking about fear, I am not talking about the times when you are in danger. When you are in danger, get up and do something to make that danger stop. Don't just sit there and say, I'm not afraid. Take the correct action. I'm talking about these unfounded fears. So, one thing that fear will do is it will keep planting the idea of more, wanting you to constantly ramp up why you are afraid. You'll notice that in conspiracy theory culture, they're always sort of what's called moving the goalpost. So, be afraid the world's going to end on July 5th. Well, July 5th comes and the world doesn't end. And then they say, oh, because we were so alert and so afraid, and we kept such wonderful preparations, we got a reprieve. But the world's going to end for sure on September 5th. And then everybody ramps up for September 5th. And as we keep ramping up, we get more and more fear is cultivated until you just become a ball of fear instead of a reasonably thinking individual. So, fear wants you constantly ramped up and dissatisfied with what is and afraid of losing what you have. The minute you say, oh, I'm so grateful for everything I have, you've cut fear off at the knees. It doesn't have anywhere to go because it depends on you being dissatisfied and afraid of losing the little that you may believe that you have collected. And little is a relative term. You may have amassed a fortune, and you can still be afraid that you will lose that fortune, and you will think of it as just a small amount, and you will think of yourself as a small person. Fear also loves to help keep you agitated. It's never enough is fear's mantra. If you find yourself always feeling like you got to do more, you got to do more, you got to do more, it's okay if you're moving toward a goal that will actually get you to something you enjoy. But if you're just trying to compete, take a breath. Fear has got a hold of you and is trying to convince you that you, as you are not enough. So fear might say, there's never enough to go around. There's never enough to keep you safe. There's never enough to allow your life to be peaceful. As long as you're nervous, agitated, and unable to settle, fear is in the background. Fear makes you believe the good won't last. It doesn't matter how long your good has lasted. Fear is keeping you on edge that that other shoe is going to drop and all of this is going to go away. There's bad coming around the corner. Fear will also create superstitions. If you look at any culture, and it's usually the more primitive cultures where these kinds of superstitions began to explain something they were afraid of, it is a way to deal with whatever fear they had, whatever unexplainable event happened. There's generally a superstition around it to try to control it, to stop that fear from taking over. Fear can be controlling. It's almost like it's the puppet master because it can, if you don't grab hold of your free will and take charge, fear can dictate what you can and cannot do, and it can control your thoughts. Notice I'm not saying it will. You are always in control of what you think, what you believe, and how you act. Fear might try to convince you differently, but at any time you can take your power back. Fear makes it easy to believe the lie. And the lie is that you are vulnerable, that you are not powerful, and that others around you or the situation that you are facing is somehow much greater than anything that you're going to be able to um, interact with. Fear is a slick salesman, and it will make you agree to the unwanted. And that's why you've always got to check in with your heart. If you are feeling uneasy, ask yourself why. Don't just assume. Fear will keep you off balance. It makes you unable to feel stable or perhaps take too many risks or take no risks. And either way is not good. You need to take some risks in order to grow, but you don't want to constantly be in risk because then you are just doing to do instead of doing to grow. And fear will also blind you to what you already have. It makes you believe whatever you have is never going to be enough. So now, that's all about fear. What can you do instead? Always the first thing I want you to do is come into the present moment and really pay attention. Be conscious about your thoughts, your actions, your feelings. Really be present to you. Take a deep breath whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. Take a deep breath whenever you feel that your thoughts are running away from you. Take a deep breath when you feel that you need to do something that might be challenging. Take a deep breath. Don't be afraid to move. Access the heart. Now, when I am talking about the heart, it is the cleared, healed heart where you are going to be able to do your work. If your heart is filled with pain and former trauma and abuse or ongoing trauma and abuse, it's not going to be able to give you good, clear signals. So you do want to clear your heart. So look at the fear. Question its existence. Why is it there? What is it doing? How did it get there? Determine its value. Then, when you're ready, once you have assessed, release, clear, and heal. And from your healed place, refill with love, and then you can go forward and access the wisdom of the heart. But you must stay alert and conscious and expect, if this is new for you, that it will still feel odd for at least 30 days. You cannot begin it tomorrow and feel, oh my gosh, I'm free of fear immediately. Every habit takes time to acquire. Fear is a very insidious energy. You will have to keep reinforcing your desire to be in alignment with your highest good rather than in partnership with fear if you're going to actually release fear and replace it with your greatest good. And Jason says, oh, thank you too, Jason. Jason just wrote us a beautiful thank you note. So you're going to stay alert and conscious. And you've got to remember that a change that lasts, one that is going to be solid, that you can build upon, is going to come slowly. It's just like bodybuilding. You know, you lift a weight, you suddenly don't have really great looking muscles or a ripped body. It doesn't happen, it takes time. And there's nothing that is going to speed that up. If you do try to speed it up and shortcut, you're not going to have the foundation. At some point, you're going to have to come back and build the foundation. So, you want to build something that's going to stand the test of time. And that means that it can be repeated again and again so that you don't one day choose fear, the next day, whew, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm in alignment with my good. Next day, fear. Take the time to build a foundation. Take the time that you need so that you feel safe and secure. Change, releasing fear, becoming empowered, transforming your life, and finding that freedom is going to take commitment. It's going to take practice. Repetition is going to build ease. It's going to take patience. And this is all going to take time. So you're not doing anything wrong if you feel like it's taking too long. You're just doing it perfectly, and you are building a strong foundation. Lasting change doesn't happen overnight. So, what are the three things that you are building as you do this over and over again? Faith, trust, and belief. Those are the three characteristics that you're going to need in order to make sure, I'm checking my time here, guys, in order to make sure that you can really go forward. So you must hold steady during the formative or foundational part of this. That's your faith. You must set your intention and see your intrinsic value and know your worth. That's your belief. Faith, belief, you want to grab hold of these. And I'm sorry, that's your trust. When you see your intrinsic value and you set your intention and you believe that it's possible for you to reach that, now you are trusting. And belief, you must believe there is always more than enough for all, that good is always present, and that you have access to everything that you need. Now, why do I know this? Because God is good and good is God and God is ever present. So, therefore, everything you need has to be available or God ceases to be good. And since the divine are unchanging, that's impossible. So, build your faith, build your trust, build your belief, and that's going to give you a strong foundation. And of course, as always, we have an angelic helper that's going to assist you with all of this to make the process so much easier. When you call on your angelic support, you are not saying, oh, I'm too stupid, too weak, too whatever to do it on my own. You're just saying, oh my gosh, I want the easiest way forward that I can possibly achieve because I don't want to roll a stone uphill and have 16 backpacks on my back filled with cement blocks and 9,000 weights hanging off my legs. I want my path to be easy and filled with joy. So I'm going to accept help from the angelic realm. So that helper that you get to work with to help you overcome fear is Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is a huge, powerful, energetic source. His name means he who is like God. He is considered to be the protector angel, and his chief role is to rid the earth and its inhabitants of the toxins associated with fear. Long before you were able to become afraid, the divine had already created a helper and a way for you to be free of that fear. So, Archangel Michael will help you cut the Akka cords. Those are the negative ties that you have to any kind of fear based situation or relationship. He'll help you cut those and replace them with loving, supportive, and protective relationships. Archangel Michael is a messenger, and he brings the message of love, hope, peace, joy, wisdom, and grace. He is the one you want in your corner. It doesn't matter what it is that you are needing to overcome. Allow Archangel Michael to assist you. You will be filled with that sense of security because he is such a powerful presence. And his whole job is to rid the world of the toxins associated with fear. How can you fear when you have that kind of help backing you up? You'll know that you're in your aligned state when you are fearless. That doesn't mean that you're crazy. It means that you are able to look at what could potentially be a fearful situation, call on Archangel Michael and other angelic support, call on the divine, and say, okay, if this is meant for me, then I will be able to do this in the way that it's supposed to be. If it's not, it will simply cease to be. That is how you can be fearless. It means you will be able to face your fear and do what is meant for you. That doesn't mean everybody has to go be a cliff diver. If that's not meant for you, there's no point in you doing that. If that would have meaning for you, then fabulous. But let's not assign our value according to someone else's interpretation. What feels good to your heart? What would feel overcoming to you? What would build you up? What would give you that feeling of success? That's what you want to engage with. And to help you do that, Archangel Michael. And hug so tight. Oh, thank you. Guys, I'm so delighted to be here. So honored that I get to spend this time with you and that you take time out of your day to come be with me. Now, I tried to put in the chat, and I didn't do a very good job. I tried to put a website in the chat for a workshop that I'm going to be a part of this weekend. It's called The Beautifully Broken Me. Let me see if I can put it in here. I don't know why it didn't work before. Oops. It's a whole bunch of speakers. I will be there at 3:15 Pacific on Friday. But the conference goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm sure she's probably going to record it. Look, there it goes. I don't know why it didn't work. Oh, I should have put my glasses on and make sure I'm spelling it right. Oops, no. Love you too, Evan. Okay, I did this wrong. I like spaces. I grew up with spaces. So they're always in there. Okay. As I said, I will be there at 3:15 on Friday, but she has some really amazing speakers. It is all free of charge. And so it's kind of like whatever fear you might be wanting to overcome, she's going to have somebody talk about that. There are money coaches, there are mindset coaches. I, of course, am there representing the heart. Yay for the heart. But this is a woman who came out of a very abusive relationship and is just wanting to give back. So Even if you can't go or don't want to go, please share the information. It's absolutely free. And I would love to see her really get a good gathering of people and support her. So that's all I've got for today. I get now to go to my other fabulous group of people, my other Tuesday fabulous group of people. I have many fabulous groups, but this one is on Tuesday. And I think we're going to talk some more about fear. I just don't want any of you to feel discouraged or to feel disappointed in yourselves if you have engaged with fear anywhere along the way. As I told you, fear was like my middle name. I didn't understand life without fear. It was by creating a partnership with the divine, stepping into my alignment, and allowing the angels to help me that I was able to let go of the stranglehold that fear had on my life. And if I can do it, you can do it. So, next week, guys, we're going to talk about fear of death. I have got these three amazing books that I'll share with you. This one, Proof of Heaven, oh my gosh, cried my way through it. All of these talk about near death experiences. The reason that I love, oh, this is too much cat here. The reason that I love Proof of Heaven is because the guy is a neurosurgeon. But we'll talk about that next week. I'm almost out of time. I got to go. Love you all. Thank you all for being you and for being here. You really are magnificent. So, see you next week. Bye, guys.